We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 137b. On the previous Amud, the Gemara said that if a person gives his esrog to somebody and says Acharecha leploni, you're going to get the esrog now, but after you die, it's going to go to another person. It's going to go to a second person. So if that first person tries to be yotze with the esrog in terms of the mitzvah of esrog, it's going to be a machlokas between Rebbe and Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. Rebbe, who says that Kinyan Peiros is lav ka Kinyan Haguf, so he owns the produce of the esrog, so to speak, but he doesn't own the actual esrog, so he will not be yotze in terms of the mitzvah of esrog. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says Kinyan Peiros is Kinyan Haguf, and therefore he will be yotze the mitzvah of esrog. But the Gemara now is in the middle of asking, how does that machlokas relate to the mitzvah? Because when it comes to the issue of Kinyan Peiros Kinyan Haguf, that's a question if you own the actual item. But when it comes to giving over this esrog, let's say to the first individual, so imepak lo nafik be, if you're saying that the first person he gave it to is not yotze the mitzvah, so lama you have a nehile. So why did he give it to him? The whole purpose of giving it to him was to use the peiros, the produce, so to speak, of the esrog. That is the peiros. The peiros is to be able to be yotze the mitzvah. So the first person certainly should be yotze the mitzvah, even if you said the kinyan peiros is lav ka kinyan haguf. And the Gemara says, Ella, rather, that's correct. Meipak to kuli alma lo pligi de nafik be. In terms of being yotze the mitzvah, everybody would agree, whether you hold like Rebbe or Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, whether kinyan peiros is ka kinyan haguf or not ka kinyan haguf, everybody would agree that he would be yotze the mitzvah. He would fulfill the mitzvah in terms of esrog, in terms of taking the esrog. And what's the machlokas? Machra o achla. The issue is, let's say he sells it, let's say he sells the esrog or he eats it. There, banu lemachlokas Rebbe Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. That would be a machlokas between Rebbe and Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, meaning there's a machlokas between Rebbe and Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. Is it considered the fact that he has the peiros, so to speak, of this esrog? Is it considered that he has the guf of the esrog as well? Rebbe would say kinyan peiros is lav ka kinyan haguf, so he can't sell or eat it. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel would say the kinyan peiros is ka kinyan haguf, so he's allowed to eat it and he can sell it as well. And the Rashbam explains the imepak lo nafik, if he's not fulfilling the mitzvah with the esrog, rishon, if that first person doesn't fulfill the mitzvah, l'Rebbe l'maya have nehile. According to Rebbe, what was the purpose of giving the esrog? Because if he's not fulfilling the mitzvah, he's giving him just the peiros of the esrog. What are the peiros? Sharei ein bo peiros acheros. There are no other peiros when it comes to an esrog. V'haguf eino yachol limchor v'lechol, and he's not able to actually sell or eat it, according to Rebbe. And so therefore, again, according to Rebbe, it must be that it was given to him in order to be yotze the mitzvah. And so that's why the Gemara says, again, that he certainly is yotze the mitzvah. And the machlokas Rebbe and the Rabbanan is just by mecharo o sha'achlo. Let's say he sells it or eats it. To the Rebbe tzarach l'shalem d'mei esrog l'sheni. According to Rebbe, he would have to pay the value of the esrog to the second person. If he tries to sell it, we're going to say that he owes that value to the second individual because he didn't really own the guf of the esrog that he should be allowed to sell it. But according to Rabbi Shimon, once he sells it, it is sold. The second person only gets whatever the first person leaves over. But if the first person sells everything, the second person doesn't get anything. And again, the reason why it's phrased in that fashion is it's really a b'diavad idea. You're not supposed to sell it. You're supposed to leave it for the second individual. But again, if it is sold by the first person, according to Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, it is a good sale. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna says, Ha'achin shekanu esrog betfusas habayis. Let's say brothers, they buy an esrog using the money from the estate that they inherited. Netalo echon mehen v'yotzavo. Let's say one of them takes the esrog in order to fulfill the mitzvah. So the halacha is as follows, if he owns that esrog to the extent that he's able to eat the esrog, it's totally his. So yotza, then he does fulfill the mitzvah in terms of taking the esrog. But if not, if he's not able to eat it, lo yotza, so then he doesn't fulfill the mitzvah. And this is only true if every brother actually has his own esrog, then we can say he fulfills the mitzvah. But let's say the other brothers, they didn't get an esrog. Let's say they got a quince or a pomegranate, so then the person who took the esrog is not able to fulfill the mitzvah. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava says, Esrog zen nasan lach b'matana. If a person says this esrog is given to you as a gift, but it's al minashe tachzireuli, but it's on condition that you return it to me. So netalo v'yatzabo, if he takes it in order to fulfill the mitzvah with it, hechziro, so if he returns it, if he fulfills the condition of returning the esrog, so yatza, so then he fulfills the mitzvah of esrog because he fulfilled the condition. Therefore, he was the owner of the esrog at the time that he took it to fulfill the mitzvah, and he's yotze the mitzvah. But lo echziro, but if he does not return the esrog, meaning he doesn't fulfill the condition, so then he really never received the esrog, so lo yatza, so then he does not fulfill the mitzvah. And the Gemara says, Kamash Malan, this is teaching us the matan al manas la'achzir shma matana, that if a person gives a gift and it's conditional, it's on condition that it be returned, that is considered to be a gift. And the Gemara continues, there was a woman, and she had a palm tree in the land. It was in the property of Rav Bevi bar Abaye. Anytime she came into the property in order to harvest from the tree, so he got angry at her. She was trampling on his property. And so therefore, so she transferred ownership of the tree to him throughout his lifetime for the rest of his life, and then the tree would go back to her after he died. So he went ahead and he transferred ownership of it to his younger son. He wanted to keep it in the family, that it should not return to her. Amar Rav Huna Breid Rav Yoshua, Rav Huna, the son of Rav Yoshua, said, Mishum da'asum mimuloi, because you come from muloi. Some say muloi means from a truncated people. That refers to the fact that he came from the house of Eli, meaning Rav Bevi bar Abaye was a descendant of Eli. They were truncated in the sense that there was decreed upon them a premature death. Some people say the house of Eli was just from a place called Muloi, but in any case, because you come from Muloi, Amrisu, Mili Mulyasu, you say truncated matters, you say something that is unsound, of course you're not able to transfer ownership. You only own the peiros. Afilu Rav Shimon ben Gamliel lo kamar, even Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, he only said that kinyan peiros is kekinyan haguf, ela la'acher. That's in a situation where the person said, Nechasai lach ve'acharecha leploni, I'm giving it to you and then to a different person, to an acher. But let's say it's going back to the person himself, like in this case, the woman is taking the tree back to herself after Rav Bevi bar Abaye dies. So then certainly even Rav Shimon ben Gamliel wouldn't say that. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel would say you only own the peiros, you certainly have no right to transfer it to anyone else, and therefore it does go back to the woman after you die. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman. Rava says that Rav Nachman says, Shor zeh nasan lach b'matana. I'm giving you this ox as a gift, al minas, but it's on condition, shetachsi rehuli, that you return it to me. So if the recipient, if he sanctifies it, if he makes it hektish, vechziro, and then he returns it, hareza muktash umuchzar. It is considered sanctified and it was returned, meaning that's a fulfillment of the condition, and it is considered to be hektish. Amar le Rava Rav Nachman. Rava said to Rav Nachman, Maya hadre, but what did he even return over here? He didn't really return it, he made it hektish. It belongs to the Beis HaMikdash. This person can't do anything with the animal, so why should that be considered a fulfillment of the condition? Amar le, he said back to him, my chasre, but what did he lose? He gave him back the physical animal. And so the Gemara continues, Hello, Amar Rav Ashi, rather Rav Ashi says, Chazinan, we have to see. If he said to him, it's on condition that you return it, so he did return it. That's a fulfillment of the condition, even though he made it hektish. But if he said it's on condition that you return it to me, he adds in the word li to me. So midi de chazi le kamarle. There he means I want you to return it to me, something that is fit, that I'm able to use. He's not able to use it if he made it hektish. That would not be a fulfillment of the condition. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says, Hakosev nechasav la'acher, if a person writes over his property to someone else, v'yamar halo yefshi b'hen, and the recipient says, I don't want them. So kana, he is going to acquire anyhow. V'afilu omeid v'tzavach, even if he's standing there and screaming and protesting, he still acquires it. For Rabbi Yochanan Amar lo kana, and Rabbi Yochanan says he does not acquire. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Memel, Rabbi Abba bar Memel says v'lo pligi, and they're not really arguing, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph.